Hi everybody, we're back for another video, and you can see I'm in my dining room again. It's late on a Friday. I did take this camera out today and shoot some footage, but it didn't turn out very well, so you're not going to see it. And I didn't really do anything all that exciting. Today was Friday, so you're seeing this on Saturday. It was a normal morning, got up, had coffee, played with the animals. They're around me right now. The husband is sleeping, he has to work tomorrow morning. So I was with them, had some coffee, and then was doing some work for the university on the computer, midterm type stuff, all that fun stuff. Then I had to go get a COVID test today because we have a symphony orchestra concert next week. So many days before our first rehearsal, we have to, everyone that's playing the concert has to get a test to make sure none of us have it. And then if those do, then they don't play the concert. And that way we're assured that everyone that's going to be anywhere in the same vicinity, the orchestra conductor, musicians, stage staff, all of the people that move the chairs and pianos and all of that. So to make sure that everyone is safe. For me, it's just my allergies. This fall is always a bad time for us because we've got a lot of pollen in the trees and a lot of sap falls from some of the oak trees onto the truck, and it gets sticky and it's in the air. So I did that. I had to stand and wait in line for over an hour for that. I had an appointment at 10:30, but wasn't seen until about almost 11:30. And I didn't eat breakfast because I had coffee and was doing, work on the computer. So I decided, when I'm out, I'll just, grab something. So I ended up stopping off at Einstein Bagel. I have not had a bagel in a long time. So I had a everything bagel with some plain schmear and an iced coffee. And then I had to pick up some ink because the other day I found what I thought I had. I thought I had two ink cartridges, a color and a black and white. And they had already been used. So I had to place an order, and I've realized that the ink for this Canon is, I think the black and white is 240 and the color is 241. And I buy the XL, so I buy the larger amount of ink in there. And the only way I was able to get it at Office Depot is if I bought the pack that came with 50, what are they, 4x6 or 5x7 photo paper to print on. I normally don't print on photo paper like that. I just, I don't really use this for that. I don't think it's that great of a quality for that type of photos. So that was the only way I was able to get it. So I ordered that online, went and picked it up, and then when I get there, I was like, oh, I need a ream of paper. So I picked up a ream of paper, and even that I noticed that the paper, number one, the prices are going up, and number two, the paper that I normally get, I can't find there. I normally would get a hammer mill. That was the 28 pound. So I ended up having to get the Office Depot version. It was similar to it. So we'll see. I do have some of my Midori MD paper, but I sometimes don't like printing with this printer on that paper because it resizes things and it can be kind of fussy. But actually, a lot of the stuff I was printing today, I was printing on cardstock, so that wasn't that too much of a problem. So then I went to Office Depot. I did something else. I looked around the clearance area there and I didn't see anything. And then I picked up some masks, just so we could have some in the, in the truck and in the van. If, say we go out and we don't have one, got some disposable ones. Ooh, kitty's on the table and almost knocked over my soda. Let's see. Then I came home and I did some work. Some students are, like, a lot of my community college students have assignments that were due today, so I've spent some time reading and grading their essays. It's all flute based, so that was fun. Turning in grades, doing that stuff. One thing they don't tell you when you're going to college, it's very interesting. Both of the jobs that I have are adjunct, meaning they're part-time, per service, per semester, possibly per year contract, meaning the university, since Oklahoma is a work at will state, they can decide anytime, just, sorry, we don't want you anymore, goodbye. It's amazing. You can have, 3 master's degrees and an undergrad and have about 70 credits towards a doctorate. And you can be what they would call, poor in all senses of it. You could be academically fully capable of teaching at a university with a full-time position, but so many universities, and especially now with what's going on, like hiring freezes, and they're also not hiring full-time, they're hiring part-time, they're hiring adjunct, and a lot of the courses that the adjuncts teach are like courses that the full-time professors necessarily don't want to teach because of the amount of work that goes into it, and it's something that I found very, very interesting. That people think, oh, you teach at the University of Tulsa, it's a good school. It is a good school, but when more than half of your faculty are adjunct, what does that say? How the university isn't investing in itself. They've done an amazing job of building, the campus since I've been here, the 15 years I've been here. The university looks amazing. The facilities are like, top notch. But so many of the faculty are adjunct. They're not investing that way in the university for the students, and it's always tricky because I always went to universities where the professor that was my major professor was full time, but it's interesting. Like, the students want you to do things like you would normally expect at a 4-year institution, not even just like the community college, but like TU, like at a state school or another private school where the teacher is full-time. Like, we're only paid our contact hours with the student in music. It's a little bit different when you're like an English teacher teaching a class. You're paid like a certain percentage per student. So like teachers that teach like a full like 3-credit literature class definitely make out quite well. But again, if that's the only course they're teaching that semester, no, they don't. It's very interesting that academia is so expensive. I mean, even since I graduated, the last degree I got was in 2003. That was 2 master's degrees from Indiana University in historical transverse flute performance and early music history. I was working on a doctorate there, but after 12 consecutive years of university, and knowing that I probably still had 3, maybe 4 more years, I was kind of like, I've had enough school for now. So I ended up taking 2 years off, and I was in the process of going back to Louisiana State University to finish up my doctorate. I did my master's in modern flute performance, literature, and pedagogy there with a wonderful professor, Dr. Catherine Kemmler. She's an amazing flute player, an amazing teacher, so inspiring, and I think I talk about her a lot to my students, and so they're probably tired of me telling stories, but she was the perfect teacher that I needed at that time. I had come from a teacher at a university before her that it was kind of like an abusive relationship. And to go to a teacher that was caring, nurturing, but yet firm, letting me know that, these are our standards. This is your standard. This is, what you need to do. She had a great way of, helping prepare the student, and making them feel, strong and confident, even when they weren't that way inside, and just constantly being so open and so great with sharing her knowledge. She had such a love for music. She's still alive. She still teaches at Louisiana State University, and she's one of the teachers that I am just so thankful to have worked with for 2 years. So yeah, and that's something that I've wanted to do and to be for my students. But when you're an adjunct professor, number one, you don't have a recruiting budget because you're adjunct. So it's really hard to entice new students when you're adjunct. Like my main full-time job before COVID was playing principal flute with the Tulsa Symphony. We would have 3-4 concert series a month. So that would mean ballet, opera, oratorio, chamber music, chamber symphony, full main stage symphony, touring shows, that type of stuff. We were working every weekend, and then COVID hit, and since COVID, I've performed 3 times, once at Temple, once at a church, and just a couple of weeks ago, which is shocking, to go from a month of normally having 12 or 13 concerts a month. That's like a couple every weekend. And then sometimes all of our education concerts in the spring. It's quite a shock. And so it just lets me really think a lot about higher learning. It's very it's gonna have to change. And everything that this is showing is that everything that we do in this country has to change. I found it very intriguing that people were upset that during the early onset, when people were furloughed or had lost their jobs, that some of those jobs just haven't come back. People were upset that they were making like $600 or so a month, and or a week. And when you look at that total, I mean, that's like $15 an hour for 40 hours a week, and that's still below the poverty line when you think about it. It's like $2,500 if you were to take that throughout the whole year, like $25,000 for a year. I mean, that's with the cost of living and needing a vehicle, because we're in the United States where you have to have a vehicle, because unless you live in New York or some other large city like Chicago, public transportation just doesn't exist. I mean, we have a bus system here in Tulsa, and I tried it once. I wanted to see what it was like, and if I needed to be to work at 10 a.m., I had to get on a bus at 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, wait a minute, but it's only, 4 miles that way that I have to go. Why do I need to be on a bus that early? And it was because of the way the route worked. There was like no direct route. Like you'd had to go like 10 miles south and then stop and get a connect. It was crazy. So it really makes you think that so much of what we have going on right now, COVID has really brought to light, the inadequacies that we have in so many of our systems. It's very interesting. So I did have a question that someone had asked that I saw yesterday. I think it was yesterday in one of my videos, and what they had asked, since I've been planning in rings lately. When I got this tool disc, whatever you want to call it, disc system for my university teaching, they asked why I didn't go to rings. And one of the reasons why I didn't go to rings is I'm liking the page size. This is half letter. And, you could say, well, you can use half letter in an A5 rings. Yes, you can use half letter in an A5 rings. I only have one A5 rings, and it is a Filofax Ochre Malden. And that's kind of what I keep our house binder stuff in. I've got, warranties for like the refrigerator and the microwave and the new Instant Pot, and sorry, I have an itch. I keep that stuff in there. I keep, medical documents in there. I keep documents for the animals for their vet visits. And actually, I see on the calendar we have to schedule Seamus's next set of shots. And we haven't taken him to the vet since COVID started. Now, little Miss Lila, she actually got fixed during COVID, and I didn't do that. Chad did it because I was teaching online lessons. So there was like drop-off masks. I don't know. So we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do that after next week. But so that's why I chose the discs. And also, I've seen lots of people using discs, and I mean, there's companies that are built on the disc system, the Tool, the Arc, those Martha Stewart ones, the Happy Planner, Levenger, and there's another one that one of you people mentioned the first day when I was unboxing a lot of these goodies. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the Levenger, or was it Talia? I don't know. I can't remember. I've got it written down somewhere, and I'll find it. But I also wanted to try something new. Since I don't have to carry it, since I'm here in this room teaching, this stays here. I just put it on a shelf back here with the music that I have that I'm teaching, and it's right there, and so I know that it's there. If I was doing my teaching like normal at the two universities, I'd have to carry this around everywhere with me, and I don't know if I would want to do that. It's a beautiful book. It's a hard, sturdy leather, but when I travel, at the University of Tulsa, I have my own office, but at the community college, none of the adjunct or even part-time teachers have their own office. We share practice rooms and offices that we teach in. And so everything that I need for my students there, I have to carry with me. So, I don't want to throw it all into a backpack. Depending on what I'm working with my students, I might need my flute, my piccolo and alto flute, Baroque music, my copies of the music that they're working on, something that I want them to look at, or a book, and then to throw this in there, and then even a pencil case, that's a lot on my back, and especially my hip. So yeah, so that's why I'm using it now, is because I physically can, because I'm at home and I don't have to carry it anywhere. Now, that was one reason why in all of the previous years, from like 2013 until this semester, I've always used a standard size traveler's notebook insert or two, because I could just, if this was my traveler's notebook, just slip it in the back the days that I teach and then pull them out. So that, that made that easy, but it didn't make it easy for, disseminating information from there to the students or to the university. It made it much more difficult. Now, I can just go in here. Let's see. Here, we'll pull out this page. Pull out a page, scan it, photocopy it, take a screenshot of it, and away it goes. And it only has the information on it that is pertinent to that student, because that's another thing that we have to worry about, like with Title IX, is the care of information for students, that make sure that only the students get their information, that they don't see how they are compared to other students. There's a lot of stuff that we have to be careful of, and this makes it much easier. I can just pull out the notes that I've written for the student. They can look at them, they can copy some things down, we can go photocopy them, and then put it back in my notebook. So it makes things much easier. Oh, the COVID test today. Oh, that was my second time taking it. And it was very similar to the flu test that I took about this time last year. October last year, like just around Rosh Hashanah, or in Yom Kippur, I got really sick. Like sick. And that's what makes me think that this disease, this COVID, was around earlier than they're saying, because I had fever, I had a lot of what you would think the symptoms are of COVID back a year ago. And so I just find it very interesting. But also, when you're teaching at a university, you're around students that sometimes come to lessons sick, or not knowing that they're sick, and then flute player, you're blowing air into a tiny little room. So whatever germs are going around, you end up having. So I've been actually quite healthy since this has started, because I haven't been around a bunch of sick students. It's kind of like that first year teacher syndrome. They do their student teaching, and then they start in usually the fall of the next year, and they're sick all the time, and it's because their immune system isn't used to being around a bunch of sick little kids. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of vaccinations and all of that, which reminds me, I need to get a flu shot, but I want to wait until after the concert, because I don't want to get a shot and then have it, like, the pain linger, or like if they go in too deep and hit the bone. Oh no. But yeah, that nose test is just not fun. Oh, I did have a question that someone had asked, and what I think I'm going to do, I did have a thought for a long time that I was going to start a Patreon, and I've opted against that. One of the reasons is, not knowing what is going to be happening over the next few months. I didn't want to sit in a schedule like that where I don't know I can commit to, or my viewers that would go there would like. And then there's things that I like about it, and there's things that I don't like about it. So I've decided I'm not going to do that. But you'll see that I have this new Etsy divider in here, and so what I'm thinking of doing is taking some of my designs for dashboards and stuff like that and putting them on Etsy as digital downloads. At this moment, at this time, I don't want to do anything where I'm actually fabricating and mailing inserts and dashboards and stuff like that. What I'm wanting to do is to make them available as, you know, a digital download, where you can print them on vellum, you can print them on cardstock, you can print them on whatever you want, because a lot of people have liked a lot of the standard ring ones that I have done, and I've gotten lots of comments about my minimal setup. And so I've been working on the minimal setup is going to be the thing that I offer, I think, first. And I'm looking towards the end of this month for that. And so it'll be all on Etsy, and I've changed the name of the Etsy store. So it's not going to be Peaky Dory Designs anymore, because number one, a lot of people were like, Peaky, Peaky, Pecky, Bookie, didn't know how to pronounce it. And it meant, you know, Pekingese because of the sweet little baby Seamus. I'll insert a photo here. We named it after him when we got the little baby boy, but now that we have Lila, it's, you know, I don't want to show favoritism. But also people were like, then Dory, who's Dory? You know, Dora the Explorer? No. Midori. And I wanted to get away from having the name of the business have a part of a name of another company. So it's going to be Planning with John Stationery, or planning with, you know, just planning with John. And so these designs that I have in here, the inbox, the month, let's see, even like the cards, the week. I think I have a daily in here too. Somewhere. Daily. Of course, Etsy. YouTube. There's notes. There's one that says reference. There's one that says nothing. It's blank, so you can use any of your stamping, your stickers, or nothing. I think this minimal, I'm calling it the minimal set because, you know, it's black, white, and gray. I have it in, right now, I've worked on it in Passport, Pocket TN. Passport is also pocket ring size, if you really want to know, or pocket, they call it what, Pocket XL. Pocket TN, A6, B6, B6 Slim Personal, Standard, you know, like narrow, regular, traditional Midori size. I have it in half letter. Those are the sizes that I have them in, and that way, you know, and when you buy the digital, you're gonna get all of those of that one size, because it would seem silly for you to, you know, I want the half letter set, but why do I have all these Passport files? So that way you can choose the size set you want for the minimal. And then I do have something that I'm working on for November. I've got my standard set up with a little bit of it. I spent some time doing that this afternoon too. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. I was going to do the Patreon, but I just felt, you know, I'm not so sure about that. I've seen some good things happen, but then I've also seen some not so good things happen, and I didn't want to get bogged down into a schedule that might not work for me, for my family, and I wouldn't want to let anybody down if there was like a commitment that I couldn't follow through. So I think we'll just go the Etsy route, and I'll make a like an official announcement here when all of that happens. But I have changed the Peaky Dory Design page on Facebook to Planning with John, and my old Instagram is now called Planning with John. So everything is in its way to becoming Planning with John. So why don't I leave it there, because I'm looking up at the little clock and it looks like it's about 30 minutes, and you've probably already clicked out of here by now. If you haven't clicked out of here by now, let's see, what should it be? Oh, there's a new Ben and Jerry's ice cream that we got yesterday. Well, for me, the husband got, because he's vegan. It's pumpkin cheesecake. And I think he got it at Whole Foods. He was going to get some produce there that he couldn't get at the Walmart that he works at. I think that's funny. They're right near each other, and so he gets off work and goes there. So yeah, pumpkin cheesecake. If you've stuck around this long, type pumpkin cheesecake Ben and Jerry's in the bottom, and if you see it, get it. It's amazing. It tastes like it says, like pumpkin, like cheesecake, and then there's like that graham cracker cookie gooey crumble in there. It's amazing. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Tomorrow is Shabbat, so I'm going to rest a little bit, do some reading, play in my planners, maybe even work on some stuff for the Etsy store, which actually, if you go there, you'll see that it now says Planning with John, and we have nothing in stock. You can go look, but there's nothing there yet. And when we do announce it, we will offer like a coupon discount code for sure, for all my wonderful people here that encourage and keep us all going during this crazy time. Okay, so that's all I've got for now, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.